Thought Life. A new day is dawning. No longer do we have to settle for less. When we demand more of ourselves and think with an elevated purpose, we'll embrace the positives, reject the negatives, so we can live a much more purpose-driven, meaningful life. Thought Life. Now's the time, let's elevate our minds. Make wise decisions that are right. 'Cause responsible thinking will lead us from darkness and into the light. Haunting thoughts of doubt and pain and despair it weigh me down. But resilience stirred up and then my strength it came. Welcome, y'all, to another episode of Thought Life. I want to welcome you to challenge yourself to think better and to be more self-aware and to make the changes you need to make. Brought to you by Rainier Avenue Radio. I want to thank them so much for them giving me a space to share with you this groundbreaking, extremely exciting Thought Life program, which challenges you to challenge yourself to be the best version of yourself. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I like to look at all you people as my family members because I've found a new way to think better. I want to share it with other people, which greatly benefits all of us. And what I recognize today is that today's episode is how do you challenge yourself to be better? One of the things that I've recognized is that it's very important to realize that what part in change honesty plays. Being honest with yourself. Being honest with yourself is a key to actual making change in how you're living and how you're thinking. You have to look at yourself and be honest with yourself that there's some areas in your life that you're prioritizing that don't make you a better thinker, a better person, or even more effective in life. And Thought Life is an open invitation for each person to challenge themselves, to be honest with themselves, to make those changes in a setting where nobody's going to judge you because we're all trying to be better people. I am not the utmost authority, but I have been working on myself for the last 10 years, taking a good, fresh look at myself and being able to be honest with myself. My intentions, what I want out of life, and how I actually go into life. Because for so many years, I was just kind of like being a passenger in life. Whatever came my way is pretty much how I didn't make any demands of myself. I just kind of like existed in this reality where I have to work, got to pay my bills. My primary purpose was to go to work, pay my bills on time, and that's as far as it went. You know what I mean? And in between work, I was asleep. And when I wasn't sleeping, I was taking toxic field trips on the internet periodically, not really growing at all, just kind of like existing and not really elevating or demanding or challenging myself to be better. Because what I've noticed about myself is that I got to be forced to make changes. I'd rather be comfortable than to be uncomfortable and look at myself. Those are one of the huge roadblocks to changing the whole narrative and resetting my priorities to like, you know what? When I'm honest with myself, I can be around a bunch of people who are extremely successful. I'll sit in a room full of extremely successful, good, powerful, effective thinkers, and their conversations are over my head. I'm used to talking about like, Donald Trump and so many topics that really don't matter. They don't make a big difference in my life or challenge me to be a better person. And what I find out is that I've always surrounded myself with just, I'm not knocking nobody, trust me, not like this is just being very forthwith, is that I hang around a bunch of people who are just on the hamster wheel of life. We're all going to work. We're all paying our bills. we're not really talking about anything other than sports. Who's winning basketball games, football games, um, the typical, I'd like to say, up just the crust of life. We're talking about just the basic things, you know what I mean? And most of them aren't have nothing to do with our self accountability or even looking at ourselves and saying, you know what? I've been thinking this way for quite a while, and I feel like I'm pretty much in this holding pattern. I'm not growing, I'm not learning, I'm not elevating in any area of my life. I'm just existing. Thought life is an opportunity for you to challenge yourself to think better on a higher level and to realign your priorities into how can I be better? How can I be more committed to bettering myself and the way that I think? And what I recognize today, over time, it's not the fast game. Thought life is the slow, it's like a pot roast. You know what I'm saying? It takes time and commitment. You know what I mean? At an elevated level that where most of us aren't really comfortable with. But the payoffs are just so amazing. The more I invest in my thinking, the more I get to see things from a different perspective. And when I think from an elevated perspective, I'm not no longer inspired or really like uh entertained by entertained by low level thinking. You know, I want to be around people who are challenging me, man. You know what I mean? They're really deeply engaged in how they can be more effective in life. You know what I mean? Because most people are not in that space. Most people are in survival mode. How do I pay my bills, keep my rent, eat some food, the basics, basic needs. That's a fundamental hamster wheel of life. You know, you do what you have to do to survive. You know what I mean? And what I recognize in that is that if I don't make a priority about my quality of thinking, that's as far as I'll ever be. And I had to look at myself, and that's where the whole emphasis of thought life comes from. Is because until I looked at myself honestly and saw that there had to be something better. And what happened was for me is I got tired of being average, thinking average. You know what I mean? Am I this advanced thinker? But no, I am so much more aware after investing 5 to 10 years of my life into trying to be a better person. That like that's just who I am. It's in my blood. It's an actual working part of my life. It's like I don't visit change. I want to live there. You know what I mean? Because when I live there, I make an utmost priority. I prioritize growth in my life. I prioritize being honest with myself. I prioritize being careful around the people that I hang around and how they don't challenge me. So it makes me seek out people who think a little bit better than me so that I stay challenged and stay engaged. Not that I need other people, but people need people. Iron sharpen iron. And what I'm saying is that one of the huge things is that I had to ask myself, you know what I mean? What is it going to take for me to change? What's it going to take for me to challenge myself? And why I had to ask myself the tough questions. You know what I mean? Like, where can I find a thought coach? You know what I mean? Who can guide me through this situation, to be a better me? One of the things that I recognize too is that sometimes if we're really blessed, we get intuitive thought. There's if I stop thinking this way, that'll open the door for this better way of thinking to happen. And I had to identify those things that get in the way, like excuses. Excuses are always like the killer of advancement. Excuses are just something that's built into the human being. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to do any more than I have to. I don't want any more responsibility. But truth is, I have to live with me for the rest of my life. And I don't want to just feel like low hanging fruit. You understand what I'm saying? You'd have to understand what I'm saying to really understand it. Like, I never wanted to be average anything. I always wanted to be the best at whatever I did. Just like when I was drinking and drugging, I wanted to be the best alcoholic out there. You know what I mean? I wanted to drink my drinks, your drinks, and any other drinks that were left over. You understand what I'm saying? I was an over underachiever. You know what I'm saying? I was driven, but I was driven by the wrong things, temporary pleasures. And when I recognized that, when I base my life as that being the centerpiece of my life, there's really not a lot of room for success. As an alcoholic, I didn't see a bunch of new doors, windows opening of opportunities for me. I just kept seeing things close. You understand what I'm saying? Because my intentions were wrong. My whole reason for living was like, uh, let me work hard all week so I can drink hard all weekend. And maybe I'll go to work Monday or maybe I won't. You know what I'm saying? So so the thing I'm saying is that as we look at life and we look at what the world says about how to celebrate life, you know what I mean? All those things played a huge part, and I was forced some misinformation, and I ran with it. This buzz for you. You know what I mean? Even after the lashes of alcoholism kicked in, I kept seeing that commercial, and I kept saying, you know what? Next time's going to be different. 30 years into alcoholism, there was no change, just different levels of low. And as I'm putting my power and all the things that I have that I value into this nowhere investment of medicating my way through life, it got me to this place right here. After being broken and empty, the one thing that I've learned, there's always something good and something bad. You know what I mean? There's a lesson to be learned. Whenever you put all your energies into something and it fails, you get to take a fresh look at how not to live, what not to value, what not, change is going to happen in your life. Whether you want that permission, whether you give change permission or not, we're in a changing world. We have to elevate. We have to actually stay on top of what's going on with life in order for life not to do me on such a level to where I'm in survival mode all the time. And that's what I'm saying is like one of the things that I've discovered about myself is that I had to develop some commitment to something better than I've ever committed to something that I've ever committed to in life. And I had to take a fresh look at it. Say, you know what? My thinking needs to be revolutionized. We need to, from the ground up, like we're not keeping anything that I have uh, was really based on the dysfunction of life, pretty much, except for going to work and paying my bills. I was a great employee, bad thinker. I couldn't save money. I didn't really have a lot of priorities, locked in. And what I've recognized too is that successful people aren't born. They just don't born. You're not born successful. You're not born a good thinker. Nobody's born a great thinker. You know what I mean? It's something that's developed over time because there's an internal drive that is hard to explain. It's just something that is like a spiritual pull. It's just pulling you to do this. It's like you're called to do this. And you keep hearing like there's got to be something better than what I'm doing right now. While you're doing the wrong thing, you know what I mean? I've discovered, man, when I'm doing the wrong thing, there's a little voice saying, you know what? There's got to be something better than what the hell you're doing right now. You can invest your time in something much better than this, right? Not into a nowhere existence, but what I recognize is that I can only work from what I know. And if I don't know anything, then I can't do anything different. And that's where that's where the beauty of change happens. When you get tired of being who you've been and you want to be somebody different, what happens is for each person that comes to that place is you have to ask yourself, am I ready to commit to that? Because we can visit change. I could change clothes, hairdos, wigs. They're all temporary, right? But when you change your mindset, your mindset, what used to matter before really doesn't matter because it's not building anything. It's just entertainment. And when you're an immature child, when you're a grown man thinking with immature levels of thinking and prioritizing, that's all you're ever going to get. And I'm speaking to myself. And when I'm talking to you, I'm talking to me. To be a responsible man, what is it going to take? From a childlike thinking to grown adult thinking, what is it going to take? You know what it took for me? It had to take a deep interest in being around people. And that's so very important for me, is to surround myself with responsible people. Because what I've found out is you are the company you keep. You're never going to go any further than the people that you hang around. You're just not. It just doesn't happen. And I'm making a bold statement with that. You are never going any further than the friends and the company you keep. So look around the people that you hang around. Are they great thinkers? Are their priorities in order? And you have to ask yourself. Because a lot of times what happens is that we show these loyalties to people because we knew them all our lives, right? I grew up with this guy, man. He's a great guy. Man, he goes to work every day. He pays his bills. Yeah, he smokes crack, but he's a good guy, man. You know what I'm saying? Kind of got to grow on you. You know, you can't trust him in your house, but he's a good guy, right? So the one thing that I found out is that when I show loyalties to childhood friendships, relationships that are not elevating me or challenging me, what I'm doing is I'm robbing myself of the maturity that I need to develop for myself. Maturity is not the buddy program. It's just not. It's something very personal that you have to do for yourself. And each person, I'm telling you, Thought Life is an open invitation because I know that people need that invitation. They need that safe place. They need to say change is okay. Change is good. Change is a great thing. You need to hear those things to understand that the fear that keeps you the same is going to talk to you louder than a new invitation. And how change is like the best part of me was found outside my comfort zone. And I had to recognize if I want to be the best version of myself, I had to get comfortable being uncomfortable. I had to be comfortable with looking at the ugly truth about myself. Is that, Brad, you know what? You've made no investments. You've made all you're doing is making withdrawals from life. You're not putting anything into this anything good except the need. I want everybody to love me, man. You know, it's kind of like this. This is how I put Thought Life. It's like we marry women, right? And we want them to love us for our potential, not for who we are, but for our potential. And we never live up to that potential. How long is that marriage going to last? And that's the same thing that I'm trying to tell you is that I have no business marrying anybody until I marry myself, for better or for worse. Love myself. Have a great relationship with myself so that I become a whole person. And then I can actually lead somebody to a better place. Not promise to take you somewhere. And then when it's time to get on the airplane, I don't have the tickets. Oh, well, it was just a promise. Now that you're here and you're married with me, ride with me, So it's like the one thing that I recognize is that everybody compares themselves periodically to other people on Instagram, Facebook, you know what I mean? All these different things, right? What do you see when you see a successful guy riding in a Lamborghini with a handful of money, right, looking into the screen, you know what I mean? Like, got mine. Hope you get yours. You know what I mean? How's that make you feel? How does it make you feel? You feel like you're left out, right? And that's the one thing about social media will have you discouraged, depending on how your thinking patterns are. When you look at these images, you start feeling less than, and you start feeling like, man, I wish I was somebody else. I wish I was somewhere else. And that's the one thing that poisons our mind periodically. Whatever we watch, the music we listen to, every portal in our mind and in our bodies is a open space for wrong things to get programmed into our lives. And until we get more self-accountable, self-awareness, like everything that's on the internet is not meant for me to watch. How do I get there? Probably because I've took some real toxic journeys on the internet with some pornography and some, Megan Thee Stallion and like, you know what I mean? Booty searches and you can go real deep with that, right? And spend a few hours. And, when you look at the investments we make in the internet, all I'm saying is if you make those same investments in yourself and bettering yourself every day, do you know how powerful you would be? Well, I know that I'm working on detoxing from all those things, but where I'm recognizing, and the number one topic I'm telling you is, don't cheat yourself, challenge yourself. Challenge yourself to be better. Thought Life is an open invitation for anybody. I'm gonna have some interactive Zoom meetings coming up pretty soon, but I need to have you let me know that you're interested. If you're interested and we get some numbers put up, here's my email address, thoughtlife206@gmail.com. If I get enough people to say you're interested in this open conversation so we can challenge ourselves together, then I'll move forward. Until I have people involved and really want to challenge themselves, I'm not going to go to the next level with Thought Life. I'm just not going to. So I refuse to make investments where there is no investment. If you don't show any interest in yourself, because this is not about me. This is an open invitation for you. Thought Life is developed for you to help the people of the world who want to think better, be more self-accountable, self-aware, and to elevate their ways of thinking and to prioritize in a healthy way. And we can challenge each other because we're on the same page. How do you get better? You become iron, I become iron, and we sharpen each other. We bounce off different perspectives. You know what I mean? Because people who are seeking out something better together are way more powerful than one person by themselves. It's a group thing. You know what I mean? We could be, my dream for Thought Life, that we have an army of fucking insane thinkers. We're just like trying to take over the world. You know what I mean? With our stable thinking asses. You know what I mean? It was like a dream I had. Like, wow, I can think. Hey, people are climbing out of the gutter and shit. Hey, I can think. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it's like a movie. You know what I mean? The thinkers, Thought Life. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just a vision that I have, but I know that on so many different levels, everybody can benefit from thinking better. From the mental health person to the criminal-minded person to the person who's the juvenile delinquent, from the abandoned child, from everybody, man. Everybody. You're not alone. You know what I mean? And if you're feeling like you're alone, that's the one thing that I can tell you is that you're not alone. I'm here to tell you. Thought Life is here for you. It's an open invitation for us to come together, heal together, and grow together. That's one of the most important things to me in this program at all, is just that people just take this initiative to challenge themselves in a better way. I know that I'm driven. I am driven like Maserati, man. I'm trying to go new places real quickly. You know what I mean? But safely. Yeah. So I just want to let everybody know that Thought Life is this open invitation. I love everybody who's watching this. You matter to me. I don't know you, but I love you. I don't know you, but I love your future. I want your future to be bright. I want your mind to be clear. And I want you to know intentionally where you want to go in life. And I want you to have the tools that it takes to actually commit to those things for the rest of your life. That's the one challenge and the best investment you could ever make in your life. So one day at a time, I want to thank everybody, Rainier Avenue Radio, for this opportunity. I want to thank Dan, Sound Man. Come on, man. We got to give him a shout out. I want to give everybody a shout out. Also, I want to give a shout out to the mental health guy who's coming up after me. You know what I'm saying? Mental health awareness for men. One day we're gonna come together and have a we're all basically on the same page, man. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully coming up real soon that we'll have a joint session. And I want to let everybody know everybody's important. All you guys are important. You're loved. You're not alone. You're not forgotten. Thought Life is here for you as an open invitation for you to love yourself enough to change the way you think. And I just been having a dream and I'm following this vision because I believe that there's a power greater than ourselves that wants us to think better and not be victims of life. So God bless you. Hope you tune in another time. Hope you heard something that keeps you and inspires you and just sparks something in you that makes you want to change for the better. God bless y'all. Peace out. Thought Life. Thought Life. A new day is dawning. No longer do we have to